Hey trainers, Chicken here, as recommended, another Should You Summon video. And then this is going to be following from my previous video, Should You Summon for Nessa and Dreadnought. But this time, this video is Should You Summon for BEA and SIRFETCH'D. So those of you who clicked on this video are, thinking about whether you should summon for BEA and SIRFETCH'D, and maybe you probably stumbled upon this video just because this is a fighting sync pair, and it's been a while since we had this type of sync pair, just for the uniqueness of typing, and more to come. So once again, trainers, if you enjoy my Pokemon Masters videos and would like to see more content like this, and even my pulls, and have been checking the channel, some of you have watched me for a long time, why don't you click that subscribe button? It's free and it's no charge. So click on that subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can be up to date to more Pokemon Masters content from me. And so here we go as we focus on this sync pair here. BEA and SIRFETCH'D. Let's go into the stats, right? Let's go into the stats of this sync pair. All right, so this is going to be a striker. So the other fighting Pokemon that's a striker would be Lucario. All right, so that's a free-to-play sync pair right there. But going into SIRFETCH'D stats, we have the HP of 598 as a base. Attack is 360. The defense is going to be 118, which is on the low side. Special attack 214. Special defense 116. And the speed is 215. Now, going into the moves of SIRFETCH'D, the only notable move, it is a special move, is called Meteor Assault, right? This has the base power of 192 with the move gauge bar used of 4, so that's quite the move there. It has no additional effects, and it's 100% accuracy. Now, we see that we have trainer moves here, X attack, right, sharply raising the user's attack. We also have X speed, sharply raising the user's speed, right? So those are by 2 stages, and we have a trainer move from BEA called Hold Strong, which sharply raises the user's defense, raises the user's evasiveness, and makes the user gradually heal itself. All right, the base power of a Worthy Foe Meteor Assault, according to Synchron Helper, has a very good base power of 300, so that's pretty strong right there. So that's not, no nodes, no sync nodes used, and none of that, so that's the base power of 300. Now here's the cool thing about BEA and SIRFETCH'D, are its passives. So this Galarian sync pair here, and most like the other Galarian sync pairs, have been having at least maybe at most 3 passives, right? Sharp Entry 2, for example, right? As soon as SIRFETCH'D enters the arena or the battle, it sharply raises the user's critical hit rate when thrown into battle. So that already gives the edge and the advantage for SIRFETCH'D to hit hard. And we have Critical Strike 3, which powers up attacks if they become critical hits. Crit Strike 2 is the max for the Lucky skill, and that's what I would recommend for this sync pair, stacking on top of Critical Strike 3. So I do recommend that if you're definitely thinking about pulling for this sync pair soon. So to stack on Critical Strike 3. So and last but not least, we have Steady Aim. Critical hit rate cannot be lowered. So that's nice too. Just a nice bonus for SIRFETCH'D, right? So some of you are probably, even for those of you who want to get more copies, right? We haven't talked about whether you should, summon or pull yet. But if you are thinking about pulling and wondering about, this sync pair in general, right? So let's say the potential is up to 20. Right, here are the new stats if you want to, EX it. And as Mon itself, it would have the max up to 400 there, right? So 400 as the base power attack once you give it potentials, And so that's pretty powerful if you ask me. Now, those were the moves and the stats of Sirfetch'd. So let's go into the grid here. So we see some things to look over here on the top left. We do have, X speed MPR2 once used, has a chance of restoring 1 MP. We have X attack MPR2, a chance of giving restoring 1 MP as well. So these are the MP restoration, if anything, to get it back. We have on the run 3. On the run 3, once per battle, right? It drastically raises the user's evasiveness in a pinch. Okay, we have sharp entry 1 raises the user's critical hit rate when the Pokemon enters a battle. So this will stack on already the sharp entry 2. So by the time, if you end up getting 3 copies, right? So sync move level 3, right? If you end up getting 3 copies, and plus this will stack on top of the sharp entry 2, and she's ready to go. The Sirfetch'd and BEA are ready to go and start hitting with Meteor Assault. We've got some stat boosts throughout as usual. We have Meteor Assault power up +2 and the sync nodes for 3. So we have on the top right some red tiles here. We have the Meteor Assault move gauge refresh 1, which has a small chance of charging the user's move gauge by 1 when a move is successful. On top of that, we have the MA, Meteor Assault critical charge 9, which charges the user's move gauge by 1 when the user lands a critical hit. So this is a must-have to include for Sirfetch'd. If you do end up wanting to get 3 copies of BEA. Alright, so that is going to be quite useful because it does cost 4 bars for using Meteor Assault. Alright, we have also notably 2 sync nodes here, so this can be a really good sync nuke. Just to jump over to the bottom left here, but it already has an extra 4 more than the usual, 4 more sync nodes. So if I were to just grab hold of these sync nodes, the total amount of damage done, right, would be 425, right? 425 from the Worthy Foe Meteor Assault. So that's a lot of damage done, right? That's a lot of damage done. In terms of if you want to EX him, done throughout the opponent's Pokemon. So something to think about in terms of Sirfetch'd, right? So notably speaking, having this is just ideally making a grid here, but using like 630 of these orbs right now, this might be something you want to think about, right? And then just add a few more, like a few more tiles. That might be something you want to go for 3 to 5. But in any case, let's go into the other parts of the grid here. On the bottom right, we have inertia, right? So see, not even past this grid, we already have just passing up to this point of the grid, we have inertia already, which is the higher the user speed, the more powers up sync moves. So Agile Entry 1 raises the user's evasiveness when the Pokemon enters a battle. So that is nice to have on top, because already using the trainer move, it can raise the stats of evasive stats again. So it's quite nice to avoid those AoE moves from the opponent. We have Meteor Assault Critical Clock 1, which has a small chance of reducing the sync move countdown by 1 when the user lands a critical hit. So that might be something you might consider, but I probably won't do that if I were to get a 3 out of 5. But every grid is different and all preferential. Alright, so I just wanted to click and see if we have let's see, if we wanted to do something like this, right? Maybe we can have a grid with something like that if you want the inertia and agile entry on top of the move gauge, right? So something to think about. And then of crit ferocity 2, the bottom left, right? Crit ferocity 2, which says it has a moderate chance of raising the user's attack when the user's move is a critical hit. So crit ferocity 2 is just a given already, because more than likely Pokemon would be hit with a crit from Sirfetch'd. And last but not least, we have Soften Up. Critical hits land more easily when the user attacks with a sync move. So Soften Up 1 is quite another tile that's notable for Sirfetch'd, with other MP Refresh, and here we have Hold Strong, MP Refresh 2 to get back, stat boosts for Sirfetch'd. So, with all of these wonderful passives, naturally speaking, already for Sirfetch'd and BEA, and also the tiles that are available for Sirfetch'd, let's talk about should you summon for this Pokemon, right? Now, for me, my thoughts about Sirfetch'd, I think it's worth having on your team. And why I say that is because, notably, this is a fast crit striker, and getting that crit right away off the bat without relying on supports, this Pokemon can support itself, and it's gradually healing over time. So it may need like 1 or 2 supports to get that move gauge, maybe like Rosa Superior to support it, or Scarlet Swanna, or something to just make sure its defense and special defense are buffed for it to survive. But quite frankly, Sirfetch'd is going to be a one that is really, really fun to use, and because again, as I said earlier, this is a fighting type, and we need a little more of that, right? We need a little more of that fighting type in our roster, and eventually, with a lot of the other types. So, should you summon for Sirfetch'd as a mix, whether you've been paying to get those gems, or casually speaking, I say yes. Definitely worth pulling. But for free to play, is this worth it? And if you've been thinking about saving your gems for the anniversary, maybe you want to wait. Maybe you want to wait and have, even Nessa and Dreadnought along with BEA and SIRFETCH'D in the regular pool. More than likely to be in it, because this isn't a Pokefair Scout. However, if you're thinking about expanding your types just for a new Pokemon sync pair that's fighting, this would be one to pull for. And on top of that, you have great passive skills, natural passive skills already for this Pokemon. And on top of that, if you are lucky to pull 2 or 3, you can be able to have fun with this Pokemon after those stat buffs, and just using Meteor Assault as an AoE. I believe it's an AoE, which I didn't even stress out, right? Oh, I'm sorry. It's not an AoE. It's to an opponent. Okay, so it's not an AoE according to Secret Helper. My mistake. It's a physical attack on an opponent. However, a really, really cool thing about that is the fact that it just gets its crit really fast. And more than likely for me, I will definitely be EXing this Pokemon. I really like Sirfetch'd as a Pokemon. It was quite unique when revealed for Pokemon Sword and Shield, right? So Sirfetch'd is really cool in my eyes, and I really am looking forward to EXing this Pokemon and BEA. So let me know in the comment section, trainers, what you think about this Pokemon and the sync pair. Are you going to be pulling for Sirfetch'd? Are you going to be waiting? And once again, trainers, I really would love to hear back from what you think about overall this Pokemon, and let me know what this Pokemon might be great with in terms of team synergy. Alright, trainers, well, thank you for listening and watching this video. Hopefully you got some insight on whether you should pull or not, and if you are pulling, I wish you the best in pulling for BEA and Sirfetch'd. If you're not, I kudos to you, and I wish you the best for your future pulls, and enjoy Pokemon Masters. Until then, trainers, I will see you next time on the battlefield.